We have to be the champions of what we love to do, which is this tech business that we're in. We do this as a hobby for most of us, about a bulk of us, okay, except for the people who don't have, for the ones that are over a million subscribers, 100,000. Well, if you even throw 100,000 in there,
Sure.
they're managing. They're the ones that are over 100,000. It can easily go out and buy that Ultra right now.
Right.
And do a review and play with it. And sure enough, it'll be in the KBHD drawer. I don't know if you've ever seen his videos. He pulls out this long drawer.
I'm not surprised. It doesn't. I haven't seen
all these
that,
phones that will never see the day of light. These phones will never see the day of light. So let's talk about the focus should be on of many things. And we should be the champions of this. We should be the ones educating the public. All the phones I recommend never touch 500. Never touch 500, and to this day these people are extremely happy with these phones.
Is that what you usually keep your budget at when you buy a new phone? You want to keep it under $500?
Well, it's hard to say, hey, yeah, you can go get this phone and the final cost is $1,400.
Mm-hmm.
And the marketing that these companies have right now is that you see what I saw. It was under $30 right now for that Ultra a month on Samsung.com's website. But then in the smaller print, it says 36 months.
36 months.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's where everybody gets hooked. This is where the carry. When I tell people you can go and order the phone, when I told the last person that her name was Nicole, that the one thing I said, well, what stands out? What is it that you need? And one of the first things she said was camera, Pixel 3a.
Right.
And I told her, go get that. Well, how am I getting that? And I said, go order it on your own. And that whole concept of going out and purchasing your own phone and not going to Sprint, because that's what she's coming from, okay, blew her mind. All the phones are 5G. We already knew months ahead of time that the price of the phones or the modem / chipset is going to drive. That's what drove the cost up.
Yeah,
that Ultra could be $300 less. I still want that feely, touchy, newy thing.
Sure,
I mean, and I adjust my budget when I decide I would sell a few phones, free up some cash, and then figure out what is the one that I'm going to go for. Now they've all since I've been doing this, they all go through these cycles. All of a sudden they sell the phone at the top dollar, and all of a sudden a few weeks later it goes down. We're having a special.
Yeah, and actually
we're having it right. And they have I call the fire sales. They got they got the oh shit moment. Oh my God, this phone ain't selling like it used to.
Right.
Then you go through the summer of these different little sales. Black Friday is probably been the best for me when I came time. And I don't care. That's the other thing. I don't care that I don't have the newest thing right now.
Yeah.
Because guess what? From the time that phone got released here in February to the time I would buy it, and if I was to buy it in November, all the problems have been worked out.
JD says Android doesn't have good resale value compared to Apple for tech reviewers that aren't on the level of MKBHD, Unbox Therapy, and etc. But Mike makes a great point that most mid-tier phones can get the job done. So Mike is right. And that's something that maybe I'm not thinking about is I look at this a lot of times in the perspective of a tech reviewer, but I cannot push back on the fact that the price is still, yes, I'm a tech reviewer that might be looking at top tier phones, flagship phones, but it is still the price for a consumer. I am a consumer. Yes, I review phones, but I'm a consumer as well. So we can say, wait for the fire sale, wait for these things to come in, but you are also putting this price out to a ton of people. Maybe they know what they're marketing for, right? Maybe they know, hey, we're going to get X% who's going to spend the money on this phone. We know that. And then once they hit that threshold, then we drop the price to X amount of people. But I hate that, Mike. Like, I hate that kind of marketing. This is where we
come in. This is where we come in and say, hit the brakes.
Yes.
Get the get the sunglasses off and look into the light
Sure.
and see and let's take a moment here. Is the present phone that you have to go get? If not, let's figure out what to do to get you by until we find that better sale.
Right. And
You know
which
what I
is
mean?
which is great, because that gives us something to do as tech reviewers.
Mhm.
But
the material is out there, and also a sense of responsibility, because I think, though, as much as a lot of my YouTube people, the people I subscribe, some people I call my friends,
right.
they're it's like, as much as we try to say to be original, we still get caught up in that moment of trying to keep up with the Joneses. In this scenario,
So that's actually a really good point, because it's like back in the day, right, when people I guess I'm talking about people who like live in the suburbs, right? The point of showing off, back then was, what's in your driveway, right? I mean, I'm sure that's a thing. It's like, oh, did you see what the Johnsons have, next door? Did you see their new car in the driveway? That's kind of a show off thing. And I feel a phone can be the same way. I mean, here we are talking about.
Yeah. Oh, I picked up that term. You're flexing with that folding phone.
You're totally flexing. Oh, I love that you use the word flexing, Mike.
Yeah, you're flexing with the folding phone. You're flexing with the Ultra. Okay, Lord knows what the next potential. The iPhones was the big flex back in the day.
iPhones are still a flex. If you have an iPhone, I'm not saying because you have an iPhone you're flexing, but iPhone is a status symbol. I mean, we all know that it is a status symbol for a lot of people. People, I know, were there a lot of.
I got one guy went from my old job. He said, he admitted his budget Samsung phone that he was on Metro PCS on, he gave it always a positive view, but all because his friends had iPhones, I had to go and get iPhone 11.
Yeah, I know. And there are people that I know, and I'm sure you know, and I'm sure chat knows, there are people that I'm sure you guys know that would not carry an Android phone in any instance because they would be embarrassed. They would be embarrassed to have one because it's not an iPhone.
Again, I defer back to the G7. That you said they were very serviceable and decent photos.
There were that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There were different photos in there that you said that you gave the notch to the G7. So for at the time, again, a phone that was on sale at $180 when it was $299. Great deal. And that phone, granted, but you could probably pick up the phone and play PUBG, or when my son wants me to get into Modern Warfare.
Could you play PUBG though on the Moto G7?
You can, because now the app, the app makers made adjustments to it, and it shows you what resolution you're going to be deferred to at the. There's different settings: low, medium, and high.
Really? I guess I would have to. When I use the Moto G7 and like I'm trying to transition from Instagram to Twitter or Twitter to Telegram. You know what? Maybe I'm being really like first world problem issues with it.
Phone snob in the room.
I know. It's just, I hate the lag. I can't. You know what? Let me counterpoint your counterpoint, right? Let me counterpoint your counterpoint. No, and this is where I have to go. This is where I have to kind of go back into the politics of it, because we have gigantic companies like Apple and Google and Samsung who have all this money. Let's talk about these companies just upmarking. Is that the right word? Upmarking. How much does it really cost? How much does it really cost to make an iPhone? How much does it really cost? Like, as far as materials and build and paying their workers.
So now you're speaking using the power of your wallet to influence not just your decision, any device decision. Use the power of your wallet.
Yes.
And it proves that these phones don't need to be the price of where they are.
Yes.
And because they wouldn't have the sales.
And that's kind of where I'm going at. That's kind of where I'm going at with this, because how much does it really cost to make an iPhone 11 Pro? How much does it really cost to make a Google Pixel 4? Or how much does it cost to make this new Galaxy S20 Ultra? Does it cost $1,400? No, we all know that, because they have to make their money off of that. But how much money are they really making off every person who spends that much money? And that's kind of where I start to say, these companies now are doing it more about how much profit they can make. And yes, we can sit here and be like, well, Jerome, that's capitalism. That's capitalism. Well, I don't always agree with, I agree that people need to make their money, right? But I also agree that we don't need to screw the consumers over, which is why, like, when these fire sales come or whatever, and they're pricing stuff $200, $300 cheaper than when the phone first came out a month or two later.
Pixel 4a of a Pixel 4 and a 4 XL, it was whatever it was. I don't know when it first came out. Now, at the moment, I don't know if the sale's still on. I shared that to you last week. At T-Mobile, there were $4.99. Was it or $3.99?
No, T-Mobile, if I remember correctly, right now
at Costco though.
At Costco, it's $2.99.
Right,
$2.99 and $3.99 for
a guy that just bought it when it first came out. I had to get it then.
Yeah, that's me.
You know?
I spent $800 on it, and now you could get it for $300. And
this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to get it right away.
See, here's how I feel. If Google really wanted the Pixel 4 and the Pixel 4 XL to kind of just blow up, right? If they price that phone at $399 starting, imagine if they price what's the point? What's the point of even making a mid-range phone? What's the point of a 3A or a 4A, right? If they had a Pixel 4 and they priced that phone at $400 starting, not only would they get so much praise for it, but they would start to set a different standard for other marketers out there. Apple can go ahead and they can keep selling their phone at $1,000, but imagine the iPhone 11 Pro at $1,000 or a Pixel 4 at $400 when it first came out. The narrative today would be completely different about how these phones, you know, they're gonna give a little flack, right? I mean, I've been giving flack for the Pixel 4 for a while because yes, the battery isn't the greatest, but also we're spending way too much money on it. So I just feel like they don't go hand in hand. I don't know. It's price plays a big part into this. This is the reason that we're talking about it right now. Is I just don't the phone. Remember when I keep going back to this, but remember when the OnePlus 3T or the OnePlus 3, when it first came out, $379. I think that's what I bought it for, brand new, $379, and everybody talked about how great of a price. Yes, it didn't have the best camera or whatever, but at that price, at the performance, it was a big game changer. But we've gone from $379 now to $899, $999 for the top tier phone. I guess that's what I'm trying to get at. Is why can't
now real quick? Did you see this? You don't know. I guess I don't think you know. Right now, the OnePlus 7T is $499, and they throw in wire buds.
$499 for the one. That's a great deal.
They knocked $100 off. They're having. I just confirmed it this morning. The sale is still on.
What did the OnePlus 7T start at?
$599.
Oh, it did? Oh, that's actually pretty good.
I was one of the gullible ones and bought it like a week or two after it came out. But I'm willing and I'm guilty. Okay, but I'm willing to adjust my finances. Then I took I'm taking advantage of their financing. Now that phone's going to be paid off. That phone's going to be paid off in a year, interest free.
Wow. Oh, it's interest free. Wait, is that directly from OnePlus?
No, there is a finance company called Affirm.
I agree with a lot of your points, Mike. Like I totally do. And again, I agree that most of the time as a consumer, sometimes you have to know that these things are going to drop in price and it's time to just hold off and wait for the better deal. I guess I just still have that issue with why are they pricing it at that price right now? Like why, when they know that it's because of money. I mean, they know they're going to try to get as much as they can when they can. And then because the hype builds up and whatever. And so maybe that's what bothers me, especially with Google, right? Because they're going to price something at $800, then drop it to $6, then drop it to $4. I just have an issue with that kind of marketing style. I just wish they put it at a fair price where they make money.
Then we need to talk about, then have a segment on what's the deal of the week.